Entertainment Banter would like to remind you to stop and proceed with caution. Some language may not be suitable for some children. Or most.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Entertainment Banter. My name is the one and only Joel.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here to talk about something. Matt!
Yeah.
Tell us what we're talking about.
Well, today we're going to talk about our favorite company in the whole wide world, the Walt Disney Company, particularly with the movies that they decided to pump out. And no, we're not talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and no, we're not talking about Lucasfilm.
We always do.
When they start to monopolize everything, including Fox,
where are we going?
You know,
what's happening?
So, the last few years, they've decided that they wanted to push an agenda of redoing all their animated features, and some not animated, such as what was it, Pete the Magic Dragon, Pete's Magic Dragon, or whatever it was called. But they've been releasing a lot of movies that were animated into live action. Jungle Book. They've done Maleficent, which was a Sleeping Beauty. There's Cinderella. They've been doing things like where they're coming out with Dumbo, Aladdin, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. They finished last year, or 2 years ago, actually, maybe more than that now. But the point I'm making is they're in competition with themselves, and we've talked about this before. Are they oversaturating the market with these movies? Because right now they're starting to take a hit financially. Because Mary Poppins Returns, that was another one. That was the only one that wasn't a redo; it was more of a sequel, but they're taking hits at the box office financially. They're not making the money that they thought they would be making on these movies.
Disney original content, you are correct.
Yes, right. And so the problem is that's across the board right now. What's happening? What's saving Disney is the actual theme parks. The theme parks are financially keeping Disney afloat. If it wasn't for the theme parks, the company would be in trouble. So getting to this point. Maybe because I have kids now and I'm more in tune to watching these movies, because before I wouldn't probably go see them. But I just took my son to see Dumbo. He's 2, and the live action with Danny DeVito and all them. And I have to say, story wise, they actually did a good job with the story, because in the first 20 minutes of the film, the original Dumbo movie was addressed, and I was like, okay, well, where are they going to go with this? And at least they had enough creativity to come up with a story that continued it, if that makes any sense at all. So there was more to the Dumbo story. So I appreciated that. I was a little behind on the times, but I just watched the Mary Poppins Returns. That one was a huge disappointment. It was a huge disappointment. I'll go back to that later. But right now it hasn't hit theaters yet, but we've got Aladdin coming out, and we've got Lion King. Beauty and the Beast, I thought overall was a perfect movie. I thought they did a good job with beginning, middle, and ends. They honored the cartoon movie. They honored the theatrical show on stage, and then they added a little twist to it. But they were adding. They didn't take away. But when we get back to like Lion King, for example, I actually watching the trailer, it looks just like the cartoon, but live action. And I started thinking to myself, like, that's kind of ridiculous that it's so accurate. It's done in such a way that's so accurate to the cartoon. What's going to make this movie any special? You know what I mean? Like, even the Pride Rock, like, I would have been happy with them changing the look of Pride Rock or something. But it literally, the shots of this trailer are exactly the same shots that they did almost for the animated feature. So what makes it special? What makes it different?
That's really funny, because they could have easily just taken the animated version of the movie and just animated differently, because that's what they did. Right.
I mean, to me, as of right now, it looks exactly identical. So why would I go see it?
Do we know how long this movie is? I mean, is it longer? Is it shorter? I mean,
I don't know.
It could be longer, but I mean, hopefully there's going to be some changes in it. And I find it funny because they're calling this their live action series now. They're doing, live action Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast. But this isn't live action Lion King. It's just animated differently.
Yeah, I mean it's an animated movie being animated differently.
Am
Yeah,
I
so
gonna
that's
am I gonna cry when Simba goes, Dad, get up? Hell yeah, I'm gonna cry. You see those fucking animated eyes?
yeah.
It's so adorable.
Yeah. It's
So
interesting
adorable.
because it's ironic. It just based on the trailer. I mean, granted, it could be completely different, but it's a weird twist. It's something that I'm kind of angry at myself because how many times have we said, why can't Hollywood just make it like it's supposed to be? Like, how many times do Transformers just make them in the 80s? Mack truck, whatever. Ninja Turtles, just make them in the sewers. They're not aliens. Like, we complain about all this
And
stuff.
now they're actually doing it.
And now they're actually doing it for Lion
about
King, and I don't know why, but it's not working for me.
You wanted something different.
I wanted something different for Lion King.
It's working for
Maybe
me.
it's because, like you said, it's animated on animated. Does that make any sense?
It's working for me. I think it's going to be great. I think out of all of them, I think this is going to be one of the better ones.
It would be.
Aladdin
It would be
is a little
because
skeptical just because of the genie. Will Smith, I don't think, can play the parts, but we will see.
Well, I also, just based on the trailer, there's some jokes in there that just, I hate when they try to put, and this is already backfiring on me, modern jokes in traditional stories and storytelling, but you could get away with it with Aladdin because the genie was always someone who did pop culture and was current with the times.
Yeah, and you're just comparing what we did for Aladdin.
Well, not Aladdin, but in the movie itself, when Robin Williams did it, he was doing imitations of people that
is true.
They
pop
weren't
culture at the time, right?
At the time, they weren't someone back in Agrabah, whatever time period it is supposed to be.
When you say Will Smith, do you think Robin Williams? I mean, that's
no.
I just wish Robin Williams was still alive because that would have been a remarkable experience to see him as the live action genie.
That would have been amazing. That's a great comment. Do you think they would have done that? Do you think they would have brought him back?
I hope so. If he was still alive today, I hope he would be the first person that was offered to, hey, we're going to do Aladdin live action. We'd like you to reprise the role as Genie. It would be amazing.
Well, there was some bad blood between him and Disney because they didn't give him special rights.
It's because
they fixed it by the third one, but by then it was kind of like a broken relationship.
Right?
Yes.
They weren't supposed to use Genie as any kind of advertisement for the show.
Right.
They broke that day one.
Right.
Because he did such a good job.
Right. Well, and they didn't give him any top billing, so they gave him top billing for 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would have been amazing. It kind of saddens me the fact that you said that just now because that would have been really awesome to see.
Would have been the best.
So besides that, but what bothers me is Aladdin had modern jokes. Like, seriously, really? Like, Genie's pushing him away to go hit on Jasmine and stuff. It's just not working for me. I mean,
it's Will Smith.
Well,
it's Will Smith.
But it was Aladdin that was talking. It was Aladdin that was delivering the line.
It's gonna be Will Smith's gonna screw this up. I think. I like Will Smith. I think he's a great actor. He's not a genie. He's not the genie. So I'm gonna give it a chance because Aladdin is one of my favorite cartoons from when growing up.
Well, I'm not
one of my favorites. That and Lion King. So Lion King's gonna make me cry, but
yeah, I'm not gonna blame Will Smith completely. I will say though, what worries me is this day and age, especially, it's like, oh, we got an A-lister. Let's see what they come up with on their own. And I know that's encouraged more and more these days, but sometimes I don't know if that's always a good thing. Does that make sense? I don't want a Men in Black Will Smith for Genie, if that makes any sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you're fun, great, but I don't know if Hollywood directors would rein them in. Does that make any sense?
Nod your head. We don't want that, Will Smith. We don't want that.
No.
Mr. Smith, can we not do that?
But cinematically speaking, it looks cool. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course it looks good, and it's one of the better shows. It looks great. So does Lion King. Dumbo looked good. I mean, they're doing great with the animation and the live action and doing all that. It looks fantastic. They're not failing on that department, and they have the money to do it. I find it funny that they are you mentioned earlier that they are in competition with themselves because they own Fox now and they own Pixar and they own Star Wars and they own Marvel and they're producing these movies and they're putting the live action movies like the Lion King and Aladdin and Dumbo and those they're strategically placing those throughout the year so it doesn't mess with their bigger box office hits like Marvel And
Well, not only that,
and
but
Toy Story 5, is it 5? Toy Story 4 or 5 is coming out.
It's 5, I think.
Jeebus.
Yeah.
Stop with the Toy Story. And then,
Yep.
they don't want to compete with those, and they don't want to compete with their Star Wars. They don't want to mess with Star Wars thing at all.
Well, it's interesting, too, because they know that their own brand is hurting, meaning like the Disney movies themselves.
Stock's doing
And
pretty good.
so what they're doing, though, but what I'm saying is they're using those movies as platforms for Star Wars. So all the Star Wars trailers that are going to be coming out,
Of course,
which
they use them as launch pads.
they're using get people to go see Aladdin and to see Lion King. They're to guarantee it.
When does
They're trying
Aladdin
to put
come out?
They're trying to put Star Wars trailers in front of them. I feel like one of them's obviously this summer, and one's might be before the summer. I could be wrong.
Huh.
I have to check.
What if Disney bought Funimation and did a Dragon Ball Z live action?
I hate you. I don't think that would.
That would
I
never
don't think
happen.
that'd be
They're not going to buy
possible.
an anime company.
No. Well, no, they already have. They did. They made a deal with the guy that this real famous guy. I can't remember his name right now, but he did all the what is it? The House and crap. All those movies. I can't even remember a single title right now. But Kiki's
You're doing great.
Flying Adventure or the Flying House or something like that.
Oh yeah, that was Disney.
Disney bought all those. What is his name? Del Toro? No, I can't remember his names. I can't remember.
You're doing great.
But yeah, so stop coloring.
You can
So
still
anyways-
see the screen stopped moving.
What's interesting is a lot of the movies that they're doing too right now, Disney, already have Broadway shows, but it's the ones that don't have Broadway shows, and this is what I wanted to get back to Mary Poppins Returns, is I was really disappointed in that movie because when I was watching it, the story was not, I don't know, I thought it was terrible. They wrote it so that Michael and Jane don't remember seeing Mary Poppins, so they're obviously adults now. They don't remember Mary Poppins.
So they're
And I'm
both
just
the same
thinking,
characters. Okay.
so I'm just thinking, as a kid, you would never forget something like that, right? I mean, it's just not possible, really. I mean, I don't see
your
how you
nanny's
could.
coming to the window with an umbrella? Yeah,
Yeah.
that witch?
Right. So my point is, like, they wrote it like, oh, it wasn't real. So then that was problem number one. Problem number two for me was the way Disney did the movie was terrible. To me, it was written to be a Broadway show and not a movie, and so to me, it didn't do justice to the original. It didn't honor the original, even though they had tried to do certain honors, like they got the original Jane in it. They had
Oh,
Dick Van
really?
Dyke reprise his role.
Dick Van Dyke was there?
Yeah, so I thought that stuff was
He's
cool,
still
but it wasn't.
alive.
It wasn't enough because when you watch the movie, they would throw in little Easter eggs here and there, but at the end of the day, it wasn't very good because they actually looked like sets. And when I say sets, I mean like you literally saw they designed the set they were in for it to be on stage. Like, here comes musical number 2, Mary Poppins the Musical Part 2.
Interesting.
Like, there were certain scenes that I was like, that legitimately is a theatrical Broadway set. It's not.
This is
a
all you
stage.
wanted to talk about this time, didn't
It's
you?
not. It's not
This
a
is all you
stage.
wanted to talk about.
You know what? If you watched more of the company's stuff, you would understand what I'm saying. There was even a scene where, now keep in mind at the time of London and when this takes place, right? It's not any time modern or anything like that. So there was bikes, but they had them moving like BMX bikes. Like, it was just ridiculous. Like, they were, and the set was literally designed to look like a skate park.
What year does this take place?
I can't remember the year, but it's like right around World War II, I believe, or maybe even earlier. I can't remember the year. I have to look back and see what it is.
Oh, sorry.
It's
when
only
the original
it's
Mary
only
Poppins takes place? How many years after is this?
it's only like 20 years after the original.
So the original
maybe
Mary Poppins
maybe a little
was
bit
in
more.
20s? 30s?
Possibly. I mean, they obviously have
Huh.
transportation like cars, but they're still riding horses and carriages, and they're still riding bikes. So, that's the main form of transportation at the time.
Huh.
Yeah. So it's interesting because it's just kind of like, why is that in the movie? Well, it's in the movie because it would look cool on a Broadway show to see BMX bikers or to see lamps, guys dancing around in unison and all this stuff. So to me, I feel like the movie was written to be a Broadway show. And if that's the case, why don't you just make a Broadway show? Like, to me, it doesn't do the film, the original film, any justice. So I just thought
Interesting.
it's kind of crappy. Like, it's so blatantly obvious. I don't know. It just took me out of the whole picture. It wasn't very good.
So Disney has been known to re-release their movies. They take it out of the vault. We all know the vault very well. And they present it to the public. And then it's only out for a short time. This is why we get re-releases of Little Mermaid. I wonder when the Little Mermaid live action is coming. That's coming.
Well, I was just going to say, that's the only one they haven't done.
There's a teaser trailer for already.
Okay.
So they are making it. So, but that's when you get re-releases for that. You know, they re-release it on different formats. They have it out. It's out for a limited time. They play this little game, little extras they add on each time, and you know they sell them. They sell like hotcakes,
right?
Because it's the digital originals. Well, they haven't done that in a while, because you know you can now watch them on Netflix or they pulled it all. It's all going to be on what are they calling it?
Disney One or whatever.
Disney One, yeah.
I can't remember.
So they're pulling them all to put them on that, so it's more easily accessible. So to me, my honest opinion is that they're doing all these live actions because this is their version of re-releasing these classics, but with extras. Because that's what these are. They are the original classics. They're exactly what you want to watch. They are the original Disney format. They are the original Disney storylines. Because if you wanted to do Sleeping Beauty and do the original Sleeping Beauty story, you can. But there's the Disney version of it. There's the Disney version of Aladdin. There's the Disney version. You know, they're all fairy tales, but they all have Disney twists on them. Because some of them are very gruesome near the end. So this is just Disney re-releasing their classics out of the vault in a different way. This is my opinion of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, does it bother you that they don't do anything original? Because lately it's all been buy the franchise, make new things of the franchise so that the company can own it.
These weren't meant to be original. These were meant to re-release the classics and re-spark.
No. What I'm saying is, does it bother you? Like, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you to a certain extent. What I'm saying is, instead of focusing on... Because, like, you're going to run out of tricks in the hat. I mean, there's only so many movies you can do this for, and then what are you going to do? You know what I mean? And so what I'm saying is, why don't they just pull... Especially Disney Studios. Like, why don't they pull their resources and actually try to come up with something new? Like A Wrinkle in Time, for example. Like, that movie tanked at the box office. No one went to go see it. However, I will say, at least it was an original concept, an original idea. Why aren't they trying to do more things like that?
They still do that. I think this is buying them time to get their ducks in a row. They will do... I mean, there's more fairy tales to be done. I mean, Frozen was done years after Snow White. You know, we're talking 60, 70 years after Snow White. And the story of the Ice Queen is not a new story. It's an old story.
Not.
This is Frozen.
Christian Andersen.
Exactly, and it's just a Disney's twist. They're gonna find another one, another two, or another three that they're gonna make a Disney twist on, some fairy tale, and they're gonna tell that story. I mean, we still need to see. We're going to see Pocahontas probably live action. We're probably going to see We are going to see Little Mermaid live action. We're probably going to see Princess and the Frog live action. Oh, I don't know. Actually, did that bomb?
You know what's interesting is you said Pocahontas. I'd be very curious. I don't know if they would touch that. I think in this day and age, everyone's so damn political. I don't know if they would be able to do it. But it's
re-releasing the classic. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if they would.
No, I agree. I think it could be a very interesting story. Probably, actually, I'll be honest with you, that it would probably be the best live action story because it could probably be the most real. Yeah,
well,
it'd probably be the most realistic.
What about the Mulan live action? That'd be a really good one too.
That would be awesome too.
And Eddie Murphy can reprise his role as the fucking dragon. Mushu or Mushi or
you know what I mean? You're right. Why that's a great point. Why are they focusing on stories that are based on folklore or reality based
things? They may be. These may be in the works. I mean, you got to think about what they have in their hands in right now. They literally are making 3 to 4 Marvel movies a year. They were trying to make a Star Wars movie once a year. They're producing 1 or 2 Pixar movies a year. You're looking at, they're trying to do these live action movies. Now they just bought Fox. So who knows what they're going to do with that? Are they going to keep producing Aliens? Are they going to keep producing... Are they going to keep producing Planet of the Apes movies? Are they going to keep producing Ice Age movies? Ice Age was a contender to Pixar movies.
It's kind of Ice Age still going to keep Disney going? Got this Fox deal. If you think about it, they've got a a massive monopoly. In theory, it probably should never have happened. I don't know how it happened.
It only happened because they didn't take everything. They left the sports.
They left the sports and the news.
The news, yeah, they left that.
Yeah.
So
which is, by the way, the highest grossing news that's out there right now.
Well, they weren't going to take it because that's where the deal was going to get blocked, I think, because they would have been monopolizing news and all that. So you can't have one company controlling all the media like that.
No, but they are definitely controlling a majority of it.
I mean, you still have Sony. Disney will never buy Sony, and they will never buy Universal. Those are two bigger contenders still. Sony's still big.
And Warner Brothers.
And who considers Warner Brothers?
So, a lot of people. Warner Brothers is still
pretty big, but Sony is still a big movie producer, and so is Universal. Not as big as Disney, because Disney now is producing so much, but Sony is still there as a contender.
Well, I can tell you, if I was, like I said, we talked about this before too, but if I was Warner Brothers or Universal, I would be grabbing Hasbro properties as fast as I could snag them. No question about it.
Who produced those Hasbro movies?
Paramount has it right now. Paramount has them.
I mean, eventually we're not going to have this freedom market that people all live by. I mean, we have this into films because eventually companies are going to own companies, and it's been happening, and it's going to turn into, we have 20 movie companies, and by the time I'm in my probably 40s, 50s, we're going to have maybe 3 or 4 movie companies, and that'll be it.
Yes and no. I think what's going to be beneficial, it depends on what Disney does. I mean, they got their online streaming. If they go ahead and take over something else, whether it's Apple or Hulu or whatever. I mean, probably not Hulu, but Netflix. Maybe they buy out Netflix. Who knows? The point I'm making is Netflix. If they... I'm just saying, the major market right now that's competing with Hollywood and the studios is the online streaming services. So those services are actually becoming very popular. The fact that A-listers are moving more and more towards them, there's more. The fact that the Academy was threatened by the fact that Netflix was doing so well in movies that they started saying, look, they can't compete with the Academy unless they actually put their features in the theaters. I mean, that tells you, the fact that Disney's deciding to do a sudden online streaming account, that's not an accident. They know the new threat to the entertainment industry as a whole in Hollywood is, in fact, the online streaming services.
Nobody wants to go to the theaters anymore. Nobody wants to go.
That's not true. We're going to go see Avengers Endgame. People still
go, but there's a good chunk of people who don't want to go. My dad used to see movies all the time in theaters. That was his thing. Now he's like, what's the point? He doesn't want to go. Oh, he's a house mouse, so he just stays home and he doesn't go anywhere. My brothers would be the same way. Why go out? I mean, why interact with human beings when you can order everything online? You can get your movies, you get your food, you get your clothes.
Yeah, but do you actually believe that? Because let's look back.
I believe a lot of people do that.
No, I understand what you're saying, especially culturally. I think it also depends on what generation you're in. But for me, I'm just saying, like, the whole reason people go out to dinner, the whole reason people go out to movies is for an experience.
Absolutely.
But, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying the experience necessarily, like, for movie going. I'm saying go with friends.
The whole point is to
go.
Like, I go to bars all the time, and I don't go because the drinks are cheap. I go because I'm paying for the experience. You're paying for you're out there, you've seen people, you get a people watch, you get these experiences. I can go to a liquor store and get a 6-pack for what would it cost for one beer in the fucking bar?
But if you wouldn't meet that special girl at the bar if you went to the liquor store and brought it home.
You're not going to meet that special girl at the bar. That's the one night special girl.
I think it depends. No, it just depends on
the bar you go to.
How you roll. But the point I'm making is
awkward.
I think that's kind of interesting too, because you brought up a topic for a bigger time. But like,
what's the topic? I want to write it down.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, the idea that
then what the hell?
Humanity is going to ruin things for humanity. And I know that sounds stupid and kind of obvious, but like you said, the theaters are already hurting. It won't take much for them to go under. And then, just like Toys R Us, it doesn't exist anymore. There's no place for kids to go buy toys
I heard
anymore.
It was coming back.
There's a lot of rumor, but nothing official has happened. And if it comes back, it's going to be in special markets. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be in the United States. It's interesting, but like movie theaters, like people will miss the theater when you can't go anymore. You know what I mean? So that's it. one final thought, and then I'll let you go. I was thinking, if they were to do, we'll get back to the Disney not being original and just rebooting everything in their heads. If they were to do the Robin Hood movie,
oh my god,
would you want them to do it with the animals, or would you want them to do it with people?
That's a good question. I just had a vision, like, what if you had just had Russell Crowe with bunny ears on?
Well, he's already done Robin Hood.
I know, that's why I thought of him. But that's interesting.
Because we're talking Mulan, we're talking Pocahontas.
No, I would like to see the characters and what
Robin
they're supposed
Hood
to
could be. You still want the animals?
Well, Robin Hood, in the Disney version, was the characters from Jungle Book.
To some extent, but not really. But yeah.
What do you mean? They were.
No, they were not. No, they were slightly different.
Slightly different?
Yes.
But
yes,
still the same.
Well, one was a brown bear, one was a gray bear.
Wow. Semantics.
Yeah.
They're still
okay.
share common.
And you're just thinking of the bear. No.
Snake.
They were different. They were completely different.
All
so
right.
you would still want to see animals?
Yeah, that's the whole point. That was the whole point.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you wanted to make it more humanoid looking, I wouldn't be opposed. But again, we're going on that grounds of, I didn't like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Why are they changing them too much? How come the Transformers are this way? But if they kept it the same, would you have liked it? I don't know.
Yeah.
They didn't do it, so we don't know. So we're humanity loves to complain for what they don't get. Like, if you think in your head this is what it would have been, then, it's always, the grass is always greener. Like, I bought a Nintendo Wii. They came out white, and then someone goes, oh, they have a black one. Ooh, I want the black one. It's like, just because it was new and you didn't have that one. And then you go, and then, like, if they came out with the black Wii and they came out with the white one a year or two later, you'd be like, oh man, I want that white one now. So it's just like, it's human nature to want what you can't have, and what once you have it.
Well, I guess it's more about, it's not what I want as opposed to, like, if you had the opportunity to make it, which one would you choose?
I want it exactly as it is.
All 2D animation. It's not even CGI. It's just
no. I don't think they can.
They re-release it from the vault.
Don't.
Okay.
Update the animation.
Update the animation.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
Like Lion King.
All right. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's good. Well, we'll see how Lion King is. Maybe it'll be all right. The trailer looks exactly like the other one, so I don't know.
The
We'll see.
voices back.
Well, I was joking. I told my wife, like, they probably don't even need to get James Earl Jones back in the recording session. They'll just use the old sound bites.
They could be.
You know what
I
I mean?
hope there's some new dialogue and some new stuff and some extra goodies, but who knows?
I would hope so.
I would hope so. All we saw in the trailer was the Pride Rock and Nola, and Simba and Mufasa.
Right.
But we didn't. And we saw a little bit of Rafiki, but we didn't see Pumbaa and Timon. And did we see Scar in the trailer?
I honestly don't know. I don't think so.
Or the
It literally
hyenas.
is like it seriously looks like the first trailer.
Something,
Yeah.
Come and buy
So
me
we'll
some
see.
pizza,
We'll
bro. Yeah, man.
But anyways, that was good. So thank you for listening to Entertainment Banter. My name is Matt.
And my name is Joel. And I'm done.
Do you have an itch you just can't scratch? Let Entertainment Banter take care of that for you.